versus like, I think it's like, I don't want to say the wrong number, but it's considerably lower for the standard kind of like economic model that's being deployed across. So these things are taking form, and it's about bringing them to people's awareness, and it's about people who are starting, people looking to start businesses that are willing to incorporate these models. And again, this is important. It's about having um, governmental agencies that are willing to incentivize companies, whether it's through tax incentives to, lock in a 20-year contract in a region, or to give people, again, other incentives to run these kinds of businesses, because it's important for people to understand that this can't take place in this kind of like utopian ideology. It has to be rooted in the real-time incentives. But over time, those real-time incentives will become more aligned with humanity because people will start to shift. We have to plant the seeds now.
Mm. Yeah, I just think that those in power are not very interested on that right now. They have other
Well,
priorities. But Aaron, I honestly, um, I think at some point is inevitable. It's should happen, or we're gonna all die as humanity will perish, and because it's gonna be inevitable over time. AI is gonna replace all of our jobs. We're gonna have to change the ways we approach things. There's no way around it, and yeah. I, and another thing, over time, as technology advances, I think the truth becomes universal. Like back in the day, there was no Facebook, no Instagram, like any of those things. Like it was easier to hide everything, any
that's right.
lie, any corruption. Nowadays, it's becoming less and less easy to hide those things, the corruption, the lies, and we all share information through the web. We all just gonna have more and more knowledge over time. So at some point, we gonna know what is healthy, what it's not, and we're gonna be able to demand it, I guess.
I think that that's absolutely right. I
Yeah.
think that we will see that, and that's, I think, will be the bedrock of what I call, kind of like the evolution of consciousness, because people are living, they're walking around, they're sleepwalking, they're not conscious of the real mechanics of this world. And I'll quote somebody that said, I forget who it was, but it's the quote that the revolution will not be televised. And this is true, because the real revolution takes place in the hearts and minds of the people. And when the hearts and minds of the people shift, that will bleed into the systems that we occupy, that will bleed into the institutions that we support. And over time, as people become aware of these systemic, systemic issues, these marginalizations across the globe, I would have never had access to what's going on in Nepal 10 years ago. Neither would you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we're witnessing. I don't care what people say. I don't care how well how eloquently they spin this story. We are witnessing on a live stream basis mass genocide in Palestine. There's nothing, you can't tell me a story that they're fighting terrorists. You can't lie to me about Hamas. There's no war going on. It's a systematic eradication of 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 a group of people. And what are we seeing from our leaders around the world? No one is stepping in. There was the saying, never again after the Holocaust. Well, guess what? It's happening again. And what are we doing about it? Well, we had COVID, we have a genocide. Guess what? Every each time there's a massive distortion. Each time there's a massive inversion. Each time people are showed how corrupt and how effed up this world is, the stronger the revolution becomes. It's a balance of polarity. So
Yeah.
I'm banking on humanity here. I'm banking
Mhm.
that we will eventually, because by the way, Brew, guess what? This is another illusion. The power lies with the people. To think otherwise is completely delusional. All of these systems, all these politicians, all of these companies are dependent upon our consent, whether it's through our wallet, through our vote, through our complacency. We are the ones who feed this machine. And
Yeah.
we have the ability, collectively, once we awaken, to remove that power.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I believe same Joe Rogan says that a lot. Most people are good. And I believe that. I think most people they want the same things, right? They want a family, they want to have a healthy life, they want some money to travel, they want to have some good food on their table. Most people they're good and they want the same things. And as you mentioned, as soon as they awaken and they realize that they kind of all have this, the pushback starts, right? They
Yeah.
realize that they have this power and they can do the pushback. And I do believe that this happens, but very slowly. You know, if you look at society, history of humanity as a whole, like improvement happens, but it's not perceivable in our lifetime. Maybe when there's a Luther King there, you know, or like some important figure pops up.
Brew. I'm gonna put a wager on you. We'll place a side bet that happens in our lifetime. Okay, we'll reconnect in 20 years and we'll talk. Okay.
I hope so. But you know, Aaron, like humanity as a whole, we're not even babies. I was talking ChatGPT the other day. Take the whole history of the planet Earth, right? For how long have humanity been around? Just give me the percentage. You know how much it is? 0.0004%. It's like, what? That's how long have we been around? Like, we're nothing. Nothing. So I think we assume that we have everything figured out until we discover something better. Like the same way that we assume that the Earth was the center of the galaxy until we discovered that was not the case. You know, and there's so many other universal truths. Alchemy was a thing for a long time. Then it was not a thing anymore. They realized that you cannot make gold out of what was it again? I think they were trying to make the philosopher's stone out of a pea, out of pea, something like it's nonsense, you know. But over time, we improve, but it's very slow. You say it's during your lifetime. I think it takes a little longer because let's take this example from the sun. And the Earth being the center of the universe. I think Giordano Bruno, the Italian guy, he said, no. It's not Earth. It's not the center of the galaxy. It's the sun. They killed him, and I think it took 200 or 300 more years before they realized he was correct. 200 years. So
look what they did with Galileo. But guess what? This is the point. All of these control mechanisms, when they were exposed, they lose their power.
Yeah.
So when people start seeing how the education system works, they're going to start removing their children from it. When people start seeing how the scientific orthodoxy, the medical system orthodoxy is corrupt, they were going to remove their consent from it. And they're going to look for alternatives. And given the current framework, given social media, given mass communication, given the reach that we have globally now as citizens of countries, I can communicate with somebody in India, in Germany, in Australia, right? Today I spoke to you in Germany, someone in London, someone in Australia, and someone in where was she? I forget where she was. Maybe New Zealand. But the point is that we can have these conversations and we can connect and we can exchange information, right? So I think that because things are so connected now and because information is so free flowing, that I think that things will accelerate far faster. And by the way, look what happened with COVID. Look at how fast information spread. Look at how fast people started pushing back. Look at how fast people aligned, and look at how it's still being pushed today. So I'm gonna bet on humanity here.
You know, it would be great if the aliens just showed up. I think would. I'm not joking. It sounds. Some people say it sounds crazy, but I think it would help because we just enlarge our view of life.